1:45 on Monday, April 7th, 2025. I call this meeting of the Elkhart City Plan Commission to order. Carla, could you please do a roll call?
Newbill,
Here.
Beecher, Lawson,
Here.
Davis,
Here.
Osborne,
Here.
Baker, Mishler,
Present.
Irwin.
Here. We have a quorum. Could I get a motion and a second to approve today's agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Davis, second by Mr. Mishler. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Could I get a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the meeting on February 3rd, 2025?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Davis, second by Mr. Mishler. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Could I get a motion and a second for approval of the proof of publication for today's meeting?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Lawson, second by Mr. Davis. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. New business, 25 FSP 04.
The petitioner is Parkwell Development LLC. The site location is Lot 9 of Parkway at 17 DPUD, also known as 5301 Greenbush Court. The request is as required by Section 20.7B, seeking final site plan approval for a multifamily apartment dwelling known as Crossroads at 41 Apartments, including 7 buildings and a clubhouse and associated parking lot on land totaling 21.2 acres, more or less, located at Parkway at 17. Again, the office address is 5301 Greenbush Court. Petitioner owns 20.7 acre lot and is in the process of developing it with a 7-building apartment complex at the south end of Parkway Avenue. The project has been before Plan Commission in 2023 to allow the use to be added to the planned unit development. Each building will have 36 units. There will be a clubhouse and a pool with a dog park as a part of the proposed amenities. The final step in the approval of the development is the final site plan. The project has been reviewed and approved via the city's technical review process, and the proposal meets the requirements of the PUD district that was amended for this development. I would also note that the petitioner is requesting as a part of the final site plan to not install the public sidewalk between the 2 drives. They are showing it north and south, but not between the 2. So that is something that the Plan Commission will have to address as part of the approval. The staff recommends approval of the final site plan based on the following findings of fact. Number 1, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Number 2, the proposed use is permitted within the underlying zoning of the planned unit development. Number 3, the project has passed the city's technical review process. Number 4, the use is anticipated to conform with the comprehensive plan, which calls for mixed uses, as the map has not yet been amended for this area. And number 5, the proposed use should not be detrimental to the property values of adjacent properties. There were 2 letters mailed, 0 returned.
Questions for Mr. Trotter?
Could you go over that sidewalk situation? I do what I can. I got to keep you on your toes.
The petitioner is here, but they are requesting to not install the public sidewalk between the 2 entrance drives. They are showing a common walkway out to the public drive, or out to the public sidewalk at the north and south end. They are just requesting to not connect between the 2.
They give a reason why?
The petitioner is here in the audience that could speak to that.
Thank you. Other than that, is there any major changes to anything else we've seen here? Okay. And to be, this was partially paid for through TIF bonding, correct?
What aspect?
The development itself, TIF was used to cover a portion of the gap, if I recall correctly from council.
I believe so, and Mr. Huber could speak to that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Questions for Mr. Trotter? Eric, I have one. When the exclusion of sidewalk be something that BZA has to sign off on?
As a planning and development, this body can make that decision because it's its own zoning district, and this body can handle all that in one without having to have them go before the Board of Zoning Appeals. You're welcome.
Hi. Go ahead. Could you state your name and address for the record, please, and make sure you sign in there?
Yes, sir. Yeah, 1 second. So I am James Randolph. I represent Holiday Properties on this transaction. I'm the developer on the project, and my address is 3454 Douglas Road, South Bend, Indiana. Just to kind of add some color to some of what Eric was saying, I'll skip. I think everybody's pretty familiar with location of the site. Just some high level stuff. This is a $50 million investment that we are doing in the community here. It's something that we've been working on for it's a 3-year-old project for us at this point, even though we're yet to break ground. But we are close to that point, so we are very excited about that. A couple other high level things, and I'll get into the sidewalk question specifically. This, like Eric mentioned, there are 7 residential buildings, 1 clubhouse building. We do have all those amenities that Eric mentioned. We have 378 parking spaces on the site for the vehicular parking. I'll go ahead and get right to the site plan. We aren't trying to go away from sidewalks in general. We know that. Important element. It's an important element for our site for pedestrian circulation on the site. What we're looking to do is to have it, and I'm not. So we do have a decent amount on sidewalk on the site. It's just most of the sidewalk that we have is interior to the site to allow for pedestrian circulation throughout the site. Right now, there are no neighboring uses near us, so we are planning to connect to future uses, but there's nothing in between our 2 drives. We don't feel like that isn't already served with the sidewalk that we're introducing to site. As you can see, we have a healthy amount of sidewalk that is flanks each side of our parking areas on the site and brings people east, west, north, and south on the site. And we do have, if you guys can, not showing what it shows on my screen here, but we do have sidewalk that connects our north sidewalk, which is on the east side of the page there. And I'm sorry, I can't point at it. It's not following me here. And it connects our sidewalks throughout the site there. So we're not trying to get away from sidewalks as a whole. We're just trying to, put them in smart locations on the site. Just to go over some of the buildings, these are, as Eric mentioned, we have 7 36-unit buildings on the site, and they're laid out in the configuration that you see here. The parking, we're planning on having parking in areas that not only, serve the buildings that we're showing on site now, but also lend itself to potential future development to the west there. I'll pause here. Are there any questions about the sidewalk? I know that came up here. Yeah.
So why the change? Because when this was originally presented to us, that was part of it. Because to my understanding, the city still plans to develop that area as we would with any recently annexed and developed area. I understand you have sidewalk on the interior.
Yeah.
However, it is a public safety issue. While residents could turn in and walk through the interior, if they live on that southern portion in that southwestern building, then that would be a significantly longer route for them to walk, to cut in and walk in safely inside the perimeter.
Potentially longer, but we do think it's safer. It's safer to bring people to the interior of the site where you have more sidewalks. It's a slower vehicular traffic through there as opposed to having them on the main thoroughfare of Parkwell. It's a longer route, but it is a safer route to have them walking on the interior of the site. And we think it's a more natural path of travel at this point. There's few people who are going to walk on Parkwell today or in the future, even after this is developed. But to answer your question a little bit further, a lot of the change is this is an expensive project for us. Measures like this might not seem like a major add, but they are. Every little change like this introduces costs that we have to somehow account for, and we value engineered this thing many times to get this to a point that it worked within a budget that made sense for us.
How close is this to the high school? It's right in the center.
So we are a ways from the high school. This is going to be, this is a fully car-dependent community. This is something that for high school students who live here, it will have to be on a bus route. This isn't something that we're going to have a lot of children walking about or people who are using, walking as a main means of travel.
Questions? Why don't you continue on your presentation?
So here's our clubhouse building. One of the things about the clubhouse building and the apartment buildings that I'd like to advertise is that we even though I said that we had to value engineer, one of the things that we did not do is try to cheapen up these buildings in any form or fashion where they wouldn't hold up through the test of time. It's all masonry and fiber cement siding. These are high quality buildings. These are, it took us a long time to get here in design that worked within a budget that worked, but I think every building that we have is something that we're pretty proud of and happy to present here today. And it's something that we feel is going to meet the need for the community, not only as answering the need for today, but also the future needs for the city and its intention to grow and provide housing for the workforce housing cohort. I'd like to just touch on schedule a little bit. So with approval here today, one of the things that we're closely reaching is our loan closing and groundbreaking. We expect to actually be able to do that here within the next month to 45 days. We are working with a group out of Carmel, Indiana called Merchants Capital. We are very close to getting to a loan closing. And once we get to that point, we're about 24 months from having this project fully turned over. So it's something we're very excited about. We've worked very hard on to get to this point, and happy to present here today. If there's any questions about the site, I'd like to open it up for that right now.
All right, not to go back to the sidewalk, but I am. What is the total distance that would have been paved there with the sidewalk?
So I'd have to go back on it, and it's a few hundred feet, if I'm not
Okay, do you
mistaken.
know what the cost estimate of that would be?
I'd have to go back and get you a more exact number, but it's not insignificant. It's in the tens of thousands.
Okay. I have a question for Eric afterwards, but that's. Oh, hi. So for developments in the past, I know commonly when we annex new areas, I know on Johnson Street, there was a property that was annexed there that had an unpaved lot, and part of that annexation was to have them pave it for safety reasons as well as water retention concerns and things like that. When it comes to the sidewalk, have we granted similar exemptions for taking a sidewalk off the public right-of-way that you're aware of?
Occasionally we have.
Have we done it for residential?
especially with the amount of infill that we're doing throughout the community, we have emphasized the public sidewalk as an amenity in every neighborhood, not just ones that have sidewalks in the area. So I've been working really hard at making sure that it's part of every residential.
Thank you.
Eric, the lot that's south of this lot, is that, I mean, that's not owned by NDOT. That is it's part of the Parkwell subdivision. That is a developable piece of land, correct?
Correct. There is a lot, thank you. There's a lot to the southwest. I believe it's one lot. And then south of Verdant to be developed.
I appreciate the development. I just struggle with the connectivity of the sidewalk and the right-of-way. Trying to build a walkable, quality of place, quality of life city, and part of that is sidewalks and pedestrian facilities. While I can understand the logic that has been given, there is commercial to the north of this that I could see, and there have been sidewalks installed, and I can see that being something that's needed. Is there any other questions for the applicant? Appreciate your presentation. Thank you. So there is a public hearing on this. I'm going to go ahead and open this up for the public hearing. If there is anyone here in the audience or online that wishes to speak on this matter, if you're online, please raise your hand. I think there's a button on there, and unmute yourself and turn on your camera, and that way we know that you want to speak and we can unmute you. Not seeing anyone, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the Plan Commission. Are there any other questions, comments, concerns?
If possible, I would like to add the condition for approval that a sidewalk be included in the final site plan.
The sidewalk, for the full right-of-way?
For the full right-of-way there.
All right, so not seeing any other discussion or comments, I would entertain a motion.
Is he gonna have his?
At a motion?
Yes, a motion.
Okay, so what's your motion? Could you repeat your motion, please?
I got you. It's a long day, my bad. I make a motion that this be approved with the addition that sidewalks be included across the full public right-of-way.
And the other
And the other conditions
staff report.
in the staff report be accepted.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mishler, second by Ms. Lawson. Is there any discussion? Not seeing any. Carla, could you please do a roll call?
Osborne. Davis.
Yes.
Newbill.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Aye.
Irwin.
Yes. Motion carries. Next item, 25R01.
Good afternoon, Mike Huber, Development Services Director, City of Elkhart. These next three resolutions, resolutions 1, 2, and 3, relate directly to recent actions taken by the Elkhart Redevelopment Commission to establish 2 new tax allocation areas that will support new development projects in the downtown area. The Indiana redevelopment statute requires that all allocation areas include urban renewal or economic development plans. These plans, along with any changes or amendments that may be made to those plans, require approval by the jurisdiction's Plan Commission and ratification by the legislative body or the council. Both of these new allocation areas are being created by the Redevelopment Commission, are carve-outs from within the original and existing downtown TIF allocation area number 1. Each of these 2 new allocation areas are limited to the parcels included in the proposed development projects. Baker Tilly has conducted an analysis of the existing downtown Area 1 and determined the removal of these properties will not negatively impact the city's ability to meet current debt obligations for bonds or loans outstanding in allocation area number 1. The projects being supported through the development of these new allocation areas will result in $90 million of total investment, creating about 300 new market rate housing units, 20,000 square feet of commercial office retail space, and a new 250 space parking structure. These allocation areas represent continued new investment, private investment in the city's identified target development areas in the River District and the Benham neighborhood. So Resolution 1 will actually amend the Downtown Urban Renewal Plan and the Cassopolis Street Corridor Economic Development Plan. The amendment will provide for funding to be used to support development of future surface and structured public parking improvements, both in the area and throughout the city of Elkhart. The city is nearing completion of a redevelopment agreement with We Impact for the construction of a new $38 million mixed-use project on the south side of Jackson Boulevard. The development will include a new parking structure wrapped with residential and commercial development. This will be similar in style to developments like the Mill in downtown Mishawaka and Eddy Street Commons in South Bend. Development in the River District and the success of the Beacon Aquatic Center has increased pressure on the available parking in the district. The city is proposing to use funds from both the Cassopolis Street and the new allocation area 7 to help support the development of the parking structure. Because we're using Cassopolis Street TIF, the Beacon Aquatics facility has become an economic generator that the community partners originally planned it would be, hosting 25 plus events a year of multiple size and scale. The 2024 economic impact study indicated that the facility accounted for over 39,000 hotel room nights being sold in Elkhart. The Beacon team has communicated to us that one of the negative comments that they hear from attendees on a regular basis relates to the difficulty of finding parking. It's our determination that investments in additional parking in the River District in and around the aquatics facility will directly benefit the hotels and hospitality businesses in the Cassopolis TIF district. We plan to use Cassopolis TIF resources as a portion of the funding mix to create additional parking solutions to benefit the success of the aquatic center in hosting more and larger events. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have related to that First Amendment. How you doing?
All right. So just a couple quick questions. What legislative timeline and shovel timeline are we looking at for this project here?
So for this project, we're hoping to have, and I talk a little bit about that in the next amendment as well, but for this project in the River District, we are anticipating having a development agreement for approval at the May Redevelopment Commission meeting. It's the May 13th, I believe, Redevelopment Commission meeting. We will follow up. This process gets completed at the May meeting with our confirmatory resolutions, and then we would have the bonding and loan documents forthcoming from there. So ideally, we have all of our approvals signed and delivered for the developer before September.
And shovel in the ground time, any idea?
So
with that?
this is a project where there's currently an existing building on the location. I would anticipate that we wouldn't see construction actually starting on this project until 2026. And then it's a 2-year construction schedule.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Not seeing any. I'll go ahead and open it up for public comment. If there's anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this, now would be the time. Not seeing any, I'll go ahead and bring it back to the Plan Commission. Could I get a motion in a second for the passage of Resolution 25R01?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lawson, second by Mr. Davis. Carla, could you please do a roll call?
Osborne,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Newbill,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes.
Mishler,
Aye.
Irwin.
Yes, motion carries. 25R02.
So this resolution effectively establishes, it was a declaratory resolution amending the plan that was passed by the Redevelopment Commission. This is, as opposed to the last amendment, really just amending the plan. This is the document that actually starts the clock on creating the new allocation area number 7.
Any questions? Not seeing any. I'll go ahead and open up to public for comment. Not seeing any public comment. I'll bring it back to Planning Commission. Could I get a motion and a second to pass Resolution 25R-02?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Davis, second by Mr. Newbill. Carla, could you please do a roll call?
Lawson,
Yes.
Newbill,
Yes.
Osborne, Davis,
Yes.
Mishler,
Yes.
Irwin.
Yes, motion carries. 25R-03, Mr. Huber.
So this is a resolution with a declaratory resolution that starts the process of creating allocation number 8. This was adopted by the Redevelopment Commission at their March 11th meeting. This is located in the Benham neighborhood, immediately south of the railroad tracks, and will support $50 million of new mixed-use development in the Freight Street and South Main Street corridors proposed by Garrison Fraser. This resolution identifies specific parcels that will be included in the new allocation area, which are limited to the parcels that are proposed to be included in the new development. We anticipate that the final development agreement terms with this developer will be approved at tomorrow's meeting of the Elkhart Redevelopment Commission. It is the city's intent to support an identified $10 million project financing gap associated with the project using funded generated by the project based on these allocation area funds in the form of a developer purchased EDC bond. Currently, the city and developer are working with the IEDC to finalize the state's investment of funds into the project through the Lily Blight Removal Grant Program.
Ms. Marnoka, could you please approach? Any questions for Mr. Huber? Not seeing any. I'll go ahead and open up to the public if there's anyone from the public that wishes to comment. Not seeing any. I'll bring it back to the Plan Commission. Could I get a motion in a second to approve Resolution 25R-03?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mishler, second by Mr. Newbill. Carla, could you please do a roll call?
Newbill,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Osborne, Mishler,
Aye.
Irwin.
Yes, motion carries. Staff items 25 SI 05.
The Planning and Zoning staff is requesting approval of the addresses that have been reserved for structures in the city of Elkhart. It is one this month at 2042 Airport Drive, which is a new airport hangar.
Any questions for Mr. Trotter? Not seeing anyone. Could I get a motion in a second to approve the addresses as noted by Mr. Trotter?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Mishler, second by Mr. Davis. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion is second to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. See you. I will not be here for the May meeting, so I'll see you in June.